Ever wondered how King Charles has his own private lands in England and what that even means? It's a story that goes back almost 1,000 years to 1066. When William the Conqueror invaded England, he made a simple but powerful declaration. All land was his, not the people's, not the state's, but his. He granted chunks of it to nobles in exchange for their loyalty and military service, while peasants worked that land for protection and a place to live. The ultimate landlord was always the king. Fast forward through a few centuries of kings, knights, and power struggles. Royal lands were constantly being shuffled around, granted, and taken back. Over time, some of these lands were bundled together to create special properties for members of the royal family. This is where the Duchy of Lancaster comes in. By the 14th century, it was a massive portfolio of land belonging to the Duke of Lancaster. The big turning point was in 1399. The current Duke of Lancaster, a guy named Henry Bolingbroke, successfully took the throne and became King Henry IV. Now, you might think he would just merge his ducal lands with all the other royal lands owned by the crown. But he did something very clever. He passed a rule declaring that the Duchy of Lancaster would remain separate from the crown estate. It would be the personal property of the monarch, but held in their role as king or queen, not as a private individual. This created a unique situation that continues to this day. So, what's the difference between the duchy, state land, and your own backyard? Let's break it down. First, you have ordinary private land. If you own a house, you can sell it, rent it out, and the money is yours. Simple. Then you have state or public land. This includes things like national parks or the crown estate. These are owned by the state. The revenues go into the public treasury, and they generally can't be sold off like a private asset. This money helps pay for public services. And then there's the Duchy of Lancaster. It's often called the monarch's private estate. But it's not private in the way you or I think of it. King Charles can't just sell off a piece of the duchy to buy a new yacht. The lands are professionally managed, and the portfolio is passed down from monarch to monarch. Here's the crucial part. The income generated from the duchy, which is millions of pounds a year, goes directly to the reigning monarch. This is known as the privy purse. It doesn't go to the state or the public treasury. It's the king's personal income, which he uses to pay for official and private expenses not covered by the sovereign grant. A real-world example of this is the land under some NHS hospitals and car parks in London. Because they sit on duchy land, the rent paid by the NHS doesn't go to the government. It goes directly into the king's pocket. It's a fascinating and often misunderstood system. A financial stream for the monarch that flows from a decision made over 600 years ago. It's a modern remnant of a feudal world, where the line between the ruler's personal wealth and the state's property was drawn in a very different way. But here's a key point. It's almost entirely in England. We're talking farmlands in Lancashire, quarries in Western England, and even office buildings and NHS parking lots in central London. If you've ever walked down Savile Row, you've been on duchy land. But you won't find any duchy properties in Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland, Those regions have their own arrangements with the crown. The duchy is a uniquely English institution. This brings us to a common point of confusion. What's the difference between the Duchy of Lancaster, the Crown Estate, and the King's personal homes like Balmoral? Let's break it down. First, the Crown Estate. This is a massive portfolio of land and property, including most of the UK's seabed and famous spots like Regent Street. Its profits, which are huge, go directly to the UK's treasury, the government's piggy bank. The king doesn't get this money directly, though a portion of it is used to calculate the sovereign grant. That funds official royal duties. The monarch cannot sell the crown estate. It belongs to the crown as an institution, not the person. Next, we have the king's truly private properties, like Sandringham House and Balmoral Castle. These were bought by past royals and passed down through the family. These are private in the way and I understand it. The king owns them personally. He gets the income, and theoretically, he could sell them, though tradition makes that highly unlikely. And finally, back to our star, the Duchy of Lancaster. This is the weird middle ground. Like the private estates, the income from the duchy, known as the privy purse, goes directly to the king. This is his personal spending money for things not covered by the official sovereign grant. But here's the twist. Unlike Balmoral, the king cannot sell the Duchy of Lancaster. It's legally tied to the monarch's role and must be passed on to the next one. It's private in the sense that the income is personal, but it's not property he can just put on the market. So, to recap, Crown Estate profits go to the government. Private estates, like Balmoral, are the king's, to keep or sell, with profits going to him. The Duchy of Lancaster is an unbreakable trust, giving its profits to the king, but he can never sell it. It's a medieval system that provides the modern monarch with a very handsome private income, all thanks to a decision made by a king over 600 years ago. It's a fascinating look into the complex finances of the royal family, a blend of public duty, private wealth, and centuries of history. Hope that clears things up. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.